What's up, guys? Straight from the chest. Welcome. My name is Justin Groth, guys. I just want to thank you for giving me your listening ear. Thank you for tuning in with me. Guys, this is a personal development podcast for those of you who are new to the channel. Guys, this is something that is dear to my heart, and that's something that's very important for me to have ignited within somebody else, because that's something that I'm taking part in my life right now. And there's definite questions that surround every day. There's definite questions about what I'm supposed to be doing and where I'm supposed to be going, and is this right? Is this wrong? And I think that's on the topic today. The topic is really questions and how we actually function around the question, because I can tell you from just experience, questionings is going to be your biggest deterrent. You question things too much. It's okay to question, but don't get questioning confused with thinking, because they're two different things. So I'm all about thinking. I'm all about being a pragmatic thinker. That's fine. But when you're questioning way too much, it can just throw you and keep you in the proverbial dugout, so to speak, for a long time. And where time is actually on your side in the beginning, it starts to not be so much, because you've just held in tight at the dugout, because you're questioning way too many things in your life. You're questioning way too many parts of your process instead of just doing. And we can go on Instagram and we can go on YouTube. We can find inspiration, so to speak. People saying just take action, yada yada yada. And you got to understand it's way more complex than that, right? Because it's easy for somebody to say, an influencer or sorts to say, gotta take action. Gotta take action, man. You gotta just, and it's yes and no, because you can't just blanket term that to anybody and then that ignites somebody. Yeah, that's right, because where do they start? And you have to have a starting point, right? So the starting point could be develop more responsibility, adopt more responsibility rather. That could be a starting point. That could be the impetus of something that's very beautiful to come into your life and unravel itself. But you have to start first with something small. People are talking about aiming high. Sometimes you got to aim kind of medium. You shouldn't aim so high, because sometimes you bring about a bigger goal than you're capable of manifesting at the time. You're capable of producing at the time. And that could draw in some types of feelings of incompetency or inadequacy. And that's just going to now put you back in the mire that you were once in. So you can't start out saying, having these big audacious goals. I mean, I admire that, but let's think pragmatically here. And the pragmatic way to be is, I got to start small, because I know I can crush a small goal. I know I can adopt something that's small and in my power. I know I can complete it, and then I move on to something bigger from there, right? It seems easy, but it's not oftentimes. And it's definitely not if you question everything over and over again, because that's also a sense of distraction. You continuously question things in your life, questioning how they're going to go about, questioning the process, questioning if you should do this or that or the other. Sometimes you just have to start very small, but don't get that confused with you not starting at all, because they're two different things. Some people could say, especially all or nothing people, right? All or nothing people are very black and white, and they're very, if I can't do it big, I'm not doing it at all. I'm telling you, that's a wasteful mindset to be in, because that's just, you basically are never going to start something that could be something beautiful in the future and could hold a prominence in your life in the future. But because you're so all or nothing, you're not gray. And I believe that there's areas of life that are gray and are definitely deserving of mercy and grace rather. You have to apply that to the equation here, because it serves a purpose to have gray in your life, not all black or white. And that's where starting small comes in, because starting small is not going to appeal to somebody who's very black and white, all or nothing, go hard, go home. That doesn't appeal, but it's something that works. So if you're trying to be your best version, you're trying to augment something or anchor in something that works, or auger, and I meant to say auger, augering something that works, then you're going to adopt that seemingly small micro principle because that's going to benefit you. And then once you have accomplished that small feat turns into another small feat, turns into another small feat, turns into another small feat. Those small feats right there compound into a big feat. And then when you know that you can accomplish that, you deliver obviously more of a confidence to your demeanor, a confidence to your self-being and your inner worth. And now you can accomplish more, right? Obviously, we just go up the totem pole here. But if you never start and you keep questioning everything, you'll never get anywhere. And you don't have to be a Dalai Lama to figure that out. But my beef is with those that just think it's admirable to proclaim that I have to do all of this or it's not even worth it. And I think that if you adopt that type of a framework, you're going to be nowhere forever. And I think that's fundamentally sound to accept. If that were the case, we wouldn't have an Elon Musk. If that were the case, we wouldn't have some of the bright people that you know and love today, or that you look up to, not in an idealistic sense, but you look up to, admire, or some of the people of our past that hold substantial foundations in your life or in your admiration, so to speak. Stop questioning so much. Start laying out certain tasks that you know you can complete. Nobody said you had to do all this by next week. But I'm telling you, if you don't even start with the small task or with the small feat, you'll never see what you're made of. And this process is something to note every day of your life. Really, we could talk about process every single podcast because that's important to a plethora of people. The process is everything. And sometimes this process is going to be very brim and just dull. And you're not going to feel like you want to keep going. You're going to feel like, what's this even worth? The great thing is that you're on a structure and you have an aim. And your aim might be small right now, but that aim is going to turn high, and it's saying, look, if I can't do it big, I don't want to do it at all. That's a defeating mindset. That's a defeating mindset. And anybody tells you differently doesn't understand the process entirely, and or hasn't been through one of their own processes, so to speak. You can't say that in life because small things are worth abundance in the future. And I'm just encouraging you. You may feel like somewhat nihilistic, not caring, no meaning to your life. The reason how I know you're wrong is that you wouldn't still be here living if God didn't have a plan for you still. And all of this, if you just set aside all of your worries and your not understanding, so to speak, over what's going to happen in the future, and you just go authentically, you function authentically in what you know you can do, even if it's a small feat, I promise you things will reorient themselves in your life. It's not only going to have a trickle-down effect with how you view yourself, but it's also going to prove itself with how you treat other people. And then that's going to formulate a different group of people that want to be around you. And that's going to consistently reciprocate positive notions in your life and consistently reconfigure the process day to day with where you're going and what your draw is and what things you're led by, etc., etc. It just compounds itself over time. But if you never start and you continually question and you stay in that proverbial question dugout, you'll never see your life unravel. You'll never see what you're made of. You'll never see what God really wanted to do with you. And if you're still living, God's still got a plan. He still wants to do a whole lot with you. And you're just discounting all the small feats. That's really what you're doing. You're discounting them and then you're questioning them because you're trying to justify to yourself why you shouldn't embark on them. And then you're adopting this frivolous framework of, well, if I can't do all of it, I don't want to do none of it. That's loser mentality. That's a loser framework. I'm here to tell you that. If you don't get anything from this podcast, get that. If you think you're all or nothing and you think it's not worth doing because if you can't do all of it, don't do none of it, that's a loser framework that you've adopted. And you're just really trying to validate the fact that you don't have what it takes to even set a small aim. Lose your ego. Matter of fact, kill that son of a bitch. Because at the end of the day, that ego means nothing when you have nothing to show for your life. Small feats. Done.